Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patti LuPone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Say so long to summer with up to 30% off during Raymore and Flanagan's Labor Day sale. With slash prices store-wide, you can save hundreds on sofas, sectionals, dining sets, bedroom sets, and more. Get huge Labor Day savings on top mattress brands and enjoy quick delivery on all in-stock purchases. Or take advantage of flexible financing plans. Shop unbeatable Labor Day deals only while they last at Raymore and Flanagan. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. Time is luxury, which is why Polestar spent so much time designing the Polestar 3, their luxury electric performance SUV. It's designed to go further with up to 315 miles of range and immerse you in a unique listening experience powered by 25 speakers. Your favorite daily news podcast has never sounded better. All to make the time you spend behind the wheel of Polestar 3 the best time of your day. Book your test drive at polestar.com.
Okay, we're recording, and now both microphones have input. Okay, hi, I'm sure.
My name's Quincy.
My name's Kevin.
And this is Sentimental Men.
But keep your thumb away from that skip button.
We're here to talk.
And maybe scream.
About our favorite women in musical theater.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever in-person co-hosting Sentimental Men bonus episode. Quincy and I are looking at each other in the eyes right now. Oh. It is a magical, rare experience in 2020.
And I feel kind of bad because Kevin and I were just having a conversation as friends offline. And then I was like, oh, we should save this for the podcast.
It is kind of funny. I have noticed that, like, sometimes I'll go to text you about something and then I'll be like, you know what, we're recording on Thursday. I'll tell them about it then.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know when you guys will be listening to this, but we just finished our Alphabet Power Hour, our first ever Alphabet Power Hour on Instagram.
We did. 3, really, alphabets I'm obsessed with.
Really excited.
And I say that as a Glinda gal. I love all 3 of their alphabets, and it was so exciting to talk to all 3 of them, rapid fire like that. Okay, so the reason that we are doing this bonus episode, last week we were talking to Emma Hunton, and all of our notes that we made about that episode were to talk to her about everything that happened between the end of I'm Not That Girl and the beginning of Defying Gravity. And we skipped Sentimental Man. We flat out forgot to talk about the namesake of our podcast.
Which I think is, if you think of the way we branded this podcast, guys, it's so appropriate.
It's so appropriate. And we decided to do a little bonus episode, just us Sentimental Men.
Yes. And that's it. I don't know if you wanted to, but I don't want to talk about actually a Sentimental Man. Well, actually, I guess... I know I just said I didn't want to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it. But I guess Sentimental Man is an important song only because it comes back.
It literally sets up a moment that we all see coming anyway. Because
I don't know if I saw
Well, you know what? Maybe I take it back. Because I think when the show opened, the Wizard sang that I Have Another Drink. But I think since then, they have had it. It's a track.
And that's about all I want to talk about Sentimental Man.
That's it. I'm glad that every alphabet gets 2.5 minutes to just stand there and breathe before she goes into Defying Gravity. Other than that, I don't have much else. I don't have commentary to add. Yeah. I've never really thought about the Wizard as a character.
Sure.
But as a gay man gagging over this show, it's last on the list. I even prefer Wonderful to Sentimental Man.
Actually, you know what?
It's a little livelier.
When I want to get into Wonderful, I can get into it. If I'm I'm going to be present during this song and pay attention to it, I can get into it.
Because there's a little plot that happens. But a Sentimental Man, to me, as a song, feels like the bridge of a longer song.
Well, it's actually forced in just so we can have that moment at the end of the show.
Yes, it's literally just for the echoey, who always long to be a father.
No, literally. Well, look at us not wanting to talk about Sentimental Man and kind of dissecting it. When Kevin and I were kind of coming up with this podcast and creating it, Sentimental Men was not the first name choice.
It was not.
Well, the main one originally was going to be called Not That Girl.
Right. Originally, it was going to be called Not That Girl because we were like, we are obsessed with all of these Broadway icons, Broadway divas, but we are not that girl, and we want to talk to the girl who is that girl. Sure. But then we were like, is it meaning to call these women girls? Is that like exclusive?
Yeah, and I had a friend that was like, I think that's a little rude to call women girls and have them on.
And I agree with that.
Sure, yeah. But on that same day, in that group text, one of my friends, who I'm going to give credit to the three of them, Sarah, Katie, and Mark, were like, why don't you call it a Sentimental Man? And I was like, oh! And then I texted Kevin, and I was like, what if we call it Sentimental Man?
I think we ended on the right place. Okay. There was a moment where we were going to call it Frank Analysis.
Oh, that's right. That was the wrong move.
That was the wrong move. It wouldn't have been right. I really think we landed in the right place.
You're Not That Girl Now.
That wouldn't have been it. Yeah.
No, this is
it.
Guys, I'm happy with this podcast.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. So Quincy and I were just talking like between topics. We were talking about Stephanie J. Block, surprise, and we got to then talking about Sebastian Arcelus.
I had a really cute moment with Sebastian Arcelus. I was working at City Center at the time, and I was at the Brigadoon. Stephanie J. Block was at Brigadoon at New York City Center.
You don't have to tell me that.
So at the opening night, I was working the step-in repeat where they were all taking pictures. And Stephanie went up to take pictures, and Sebastian came and stood by me. And everyone else had been taking pictures with their partner or spouse, whatever. And Sebastian was standing by me, and I was like, why don't you go get in the pictures? And he looked at me and he goes, no, she needs to have her time. And I was like,
what a king.
I was like, you are such a great husband.
Amazing. I don't know if have I ever told you my SJB Starbucks story?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm about to blow your mind. Happy bonus episode, everybody. Okay, so one day, this would have been in summer 2014. Okay.
I was a junior in high school.
Before or after your junior year?
During. Oh, after.
Summer.
After.
So you were about to be a senior. That's less bad. Okay, so summer 2014. Yeah. I had just finished doing 9 to 5 with Stephanie Torrens. We're back at 9 to 5. It all comes back to 9 to 5. Summer 2014, I'm sitting in Starbucks with my friend Caitlin Waledo, who had just done 9 to 5 with me. And she and I were partners through the whole show. We were partnered in the opening number, and our cue to start moving in a ripple effect was, I swear to you, I'm gonna do it. And we were both like, yeah, really, don't you love when Stephanie J does it? And yes, I fucking love when she does it, how she speaks it. So we were instant bond over Stephanie J Block. So we're in Starbucks, the Starbucks on 8th Avenue on 40, 4th or 5th.
Gotcha.
Stephanie Jeanette Block walks into this Starbucks. Did I talk to her? Absolutely not. So she walks in, and Caitlin and I grab each other. We were shook. Then she walks up. She ordered an iced tea. Then she sits down at the window counter next to us, and we our conversation just comes to a stop. We're both just chugging our drinks because we're this is happening. Then Sebastian walks up to the window, taps on it, and she gets all excited and goes outside. She ran out and she gave him a big hug, and it was so cute. And I was like, I love to see these two people who I admire so much. I love to see them just happy with each other.
I know.
And that video of their As Long As You're Mine.
I want to talk to her about that.
I wanted to, honestly, and I want to talk to Adina about doing it with Tay.
So we asked you all on Instagram to let us know what we should talk about in this bonus episode, and we got kind of a lot of responses.
We sure did.
We have more. Okay.
So why don't we run through these, and we'll just do
We should do rapid fire.
Yeah, a minute of each one.
Okay. So I'll start. Well, I'll just read them.
Read them and we'll decide who answers.
Okay, Kevin, you can start with this one. No one mourns the wicked, Glinda's, versus thank goodness, Glinda's. First of all, do you think that's a thing? Because to me, those songs are so different. It's hard to be to think of it in the same way that we think of like the alphabets.
I disagree. Because, okay, so in No One Mourns the Wicked, we are seeing Glinda after, like at her peak in her moment as a public figure, right? So we are seeing her used to the attention, like in a contemporary sense, like she's had the media training, she knows how to talk to the people. But in Thank Goodness, we see her, it's kind of her beginning of that journey, and she's kind of testing the waters, and we see her bringing her actual personal feelings into it in a way that she does not in No One Mourns the Wicked.
Okay, sure.
And so I do think they're very different. And I don't think that being a No One Mourns versus Thank Goodness Glinda is more or less valid than the other. But I do think that there is a clear distinction between the two.
Okay, so who would be, in your opinion, No One Mourns the Wicked Glinda and who's a Thanksgiving? I know who your Thank Goodness Glinda is.
Well, it's Megan Helty. I mean, Megan Helty. Okay, so Megan Helty was my first Glinda. She was still a standby. Her One Short Day dress was not the One Short Day. It was just like a yellow dress.
Oh.
I saw her like one of the first times she went on, I think.
Because Glinda is like, here I am going on my Glinda soapbox.
Yeah, what?
It's literally me repeating points that you've told me before. But the way that Glinda is written vocally requires a lot from an actress in a way that Alphabet doesn't. But like Glinda really has to like go from the top of the register to the bottom.
To the bottom, yeah. So it's a hard sing in a very different way than Alphabet is a hard sing. Yeah. I would say that like Megan Helty is a Thank Goodness Glinda. And I would say that like a No One Mourns the Wicked Glinda, I'm going to put Katie Rose Clark as a No One Mourns the Wicked Glinda, because she is somebody who has such a handle over the entire role. I would include her in my like Hilty, Chenoweth, Laura Thompson, Kassenbaum category. Rose Clark.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you imagine if we had Hilty?
Really?
I would go into a state of shock
No,
for the
I love
end.
that for you. I love that.
I just want to ask her about Bring on the Vices, Don't Care What the Price Says, I'll Add the Right Spices. Can you believe the vowel choice?
Yeah, why?
Because she's perfect. She didn't make a singular bad choice in the entirety of Smash.
Neither did
Neither did who? Because I
I
have a list of donations that begs to differ.
That's good. That can stay.
Next one.
So that's a fun one. Do you think, is that how you say it? Gelfie or Gelfie?
Gelfie. Galinda.
I know, but to me, Gelfie sounds so wrong.
Gelfie?
Funny, Gelfie sounds wrong, but I say GIF.
I say GIF, but I say Gelfie.
So backstory on this, I like never really like heard that this was a thing in like the Wicked community, and then we posted a TikTok video of Kevin. You're a student at Choose University hearing Alphabet and Glinda fight during What Is This Feeling? But that post got so many comments about like shipping Alphabet and Glinda together.
Yeah.
And Gelfie, and I was like, wait, has this been a thing?
It's a thing. I remember being a wee young lad, less of a wee young lad than you were in 2004, but like,
Sure.
so when Wicked came out, I was in middle school, so I was like old enough to be on the internet, but still like a child, you know what I mean? And so I remember being like on the Wicked message boards and things like that, and people like shipping Alphabet and Glinda. And as like a baby gay, I was like, you know what? I get it. I will say the Pride ads, I'm not a fan of.
It's the Photoshop job for me.
It's the Photoshop job for me.
Better.
Yeah.
It'd be cute.
I definitely think that, and especially because like Wicked's origin story is that it's like horny Wizard of Oz fan fiction. So like Glinda X Alphabet is like 100% a thing.
And I get it.
I get it.
I especially get it as like an adolescent lesbian, like watching Wicked.
Yes,
you know?
100%.
For sure.
And especially like, and then I think it's really interesting the like element of that they're both like fighting for this same man, but who they really want is each other. I get it. I totally get it.
I never even thought of it in that way.
And I wonder too, like, I wonder if there have been women in either role who have like worked that into their interpretation. Next topic.
Okay, the next topic is someone just wrote in all caps Adina, and I do think it's funny that like we haven't really brought up Adina through the course of this, but like obviously she's Mother Alphaba.
She is Mother Alphaba.
Yes.
I love that. I love calling her, let us here on out call her Mother Alphaba.
Sure.
Because
okay, so if we're gonna do that, then I have to say that I stole it from my friend Jason, who I think is coming on the podcast at some point. So,
really?
Yeah.
Cute. Adina is Mother Alphaba, and I think it's interesting because it's like, no matter what happens in this world, Adina will always be my first Alphaba. You know what I mean? And so it's like...
And I will say, guys...
It's just like, it's not even worth having a conversation about Adina because she is the icon.
That's fantastic. That's the thing. Like, there's not much to say about Adina. Like, we get it. You know, like, we all are like, yes.
She's canon. Like,
exactly. And Adina is one of my personally favorite performers ever. I think she is just like, there's something so thrilling about the way she performs that I will never get over.
Yes. Quincy and I became friends working together while Adina was doing a show at this company. And so we were both like very much in the presence of Mother Alphaba when we became friends. So
like
she is
for our like, you know, when you first meet someone, you know, like what's going on.
Right. It was helpful for our banter to start. And Adina really did play as much a role in our friendship as Stephanie J. Block did.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
I'm happy to say it to you.
Oh my gosh. So that's what we had to say about it.
We love Adina.
Adina, we would love for you to
we would love
podcast.
Okay, so here's the thing too, is the initial idea for this is also a little bit of tea. The initial idea for this podcast is not what we are currently doing, and we are laying the groundwork to execute what our actual idea was. And it would be an absolute thrill for us to include Adina in that idea.
Agreed.
So if anyone listening has a connect, please. That's all we'll say for now.
And I feel like one of you has to like know a way that we can get to her.
Okay, next question.
This is funny. This is from our friend Caroline.
Caroline, who was there that summer, that beautiful Adina-drenched summer.
Who witnessed our friendship blossom.
Truly. Literally sat between it.
She gave two that I think are worth discussing.
Okay.
I'm going to start with one. The, in parentheses, cursed Glee covers of Defying Gravity. Which, here's my issue with the Glee covers of Defying Gravity. And it's actually just one major issue, and it's that it was given to Kurt.
Okay, but as a young tenor at that time, I was like, here.
Is Kurt a tenor? Is that what you classify him as?
Okay, so Glee tried to tell us that Kurt was like an alto, but Chris Colfer is a tenor.
To be a tenor, to me, you kind of have to be able to belt. And I don't think he's a belter. Is that like so crazy?
No, I don't think that's crazy. But anyway, so the cursed Glee covers of Defying Gravity are terrible. I mean, they're...
Never did it for me. Even in the moment, I was like, no. And when you have Lea Michele, you'd think you'd just make her actually belt it. That's what pissed me off, is that the arrangement made it such that neither of them had to belt. Because there was that weird, remember, it was like Chris Colfer and Lea Michele. Like,
and they were doing the arrangement that Adina was doing in concerts.
At the time.
That like acoustic era she went through.
Anymore. She
Thank God.
I'm going to go on record and say that I don't understand the Matt Morrison hate.
I just think that
I'm like, he's just a guy.
He's just like, with like the whole Grinch thing, it's like, we could have had like NBC presents How the Grinch Stole Christmas starring Leslie Jordan or starring literally anybody in the world. And they picked Matthew Morrison, which is just astonishing to me. So anyway, what was her second one?
Yeah, she also wanted to talk about Lindsay Mendez in general. And I think a more concise thing to talk about Lindsay Mendez in general is the fact that her Wizarding Eye... We'll talk about her Wizarding Eye, because I know you want to.
So the number one thing to make note of about Lindsay Mendez is that she corrects one of the clunkiest moments of the score, and that is, no father is not proud of you. That line does not scan correctly. It should be, no father is not proud of you, which is how Lindsay Mendez sings it.
She says... but I swear someday there'll be instead of there'll be.
Thank you for bringing it up.
No, I just like am gagged by the there'll choice because the only other alphabet I know who does that is Christine Dwyer, and I just don't understand why that's not like a taught thing.
It doesn't make sense to me because it's literally what's in the script.
Is it though, or is it they'll in the script?
Tell me why the word they will.
Because I think there'll is like a common like English word, so I think they'll is.
But she's saying, "I swear someday there will be."
No, I know. We should look at
the contraction.
We have the score. Like
anyway, Lindsay Mendez says there will be or there'll be, which I believe is correct. Quincy believes is a choice.
No, I believe it's a choice, but it's a correct choice. I just don't think that that's how it was like. I don't think that's how it's taught to the alphabets, you know? Because if it was something they cared about, then more alphabets would do it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What's next?
Kirk said, I think his name is Kirk, said your favorite alphabet option and your favorite Glinda option.
I have both answers. You go first.
I really got my favorite Glinda option first.
I can go first if you want. My favorite alphabet option is one that I can only think of one woman who has made this choice. Rachel Tucker. I'll stand there with a wizard, feeling things I'd never felt, and though I'd never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. And here's why it is correct. Because it is the end of the phrase, there is an exclamation point after it, and it is a punchline. That is the trifecta of important musical theater language.
It's the most cliched point to riff, and it's not like a very commonly done thing.
Yeah, and I mean, if it is meant to be spoken,
cliche, but obvious point.
Yeah, and if it's meant to be spoken, then like I respect that. I'm sure there's like a justification behind it, but for me, that choice to make it the most important word of the sentence by singing it on the note value and riffing off of it is so satisfying.
Yeah.
My favorite Glinda choice is 100% any woman who has ever sang, there are bridges you crossed you didn't know you crossed until you crossed, and if that joy, that thrill. That is the choice to end all choices for me.
Sure.
What are your favorite choices?
My favorite choices, I feel like, are a little surprising, honestly.
I'm excited to hear them.
So my favorite alphabet option, this is like kind of out of left field, is the second Bring Me Down. I don't even know how to articulate what this choice is, but when they bring it up,
they do a...
Bring me down! Which Di Rossioli started doing on tour. And I was like,
I love when they do that like descending, like, is ever gonna bring me down, bring me down. That, I love that. It's so deep and yummy.
Yeah, no, I love
But I love the all the way up too.
My favorite Glinda option is actually, well, there's two. And it's in Thank Goodness, obviously.
Yeah.
It's when, well, I think it's because it's like more belty is the first one, is when Glinda belts up. Cross until you cross.
Yeah. Thank you,
Hill.
LT.
But my real favorite Glinda option is at the end of Thank Goodness, when she goes up, 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 up.
Yeah, the optional touch note at the end.
Exactly.
Thank goodness for two. I love when Quincy lets me talk.
Whole Glinda episode.
I'll do it. You don't even have to do it with me. Let's just get a guest and I'll do a Glinda episode.
You're gonna cut me out?
I am relieving you of the obligation.
Let's switch gears. Ariana Grande's album Positions came out, and here's the thing: Kevin and I are both Ariana Grande stans, but we don't talk about her a lot. Is what I was thinking.
We don't, but also Ariana Grande is a staple in the Wicked universe. She's on an official Wicked recording.
Oh, that's very true. Nice tie-in, Kevin. I think when Kevin and I were first becoming friends, we talked about Ariana Grande a lot because she just really sweet now.
Yeah.
But like weirdly,
yes, and we watched the God is a Woman video together for the first time.
Oh, that's right, because it came out.
It came out. Yeah. That's Fateful Summer.
Yeah. Positions, her new album came out, and Kevin and I never really touched base on it.
We didn't, because everything else was happening at the same time.
Sure. I would love to hear what you thought of the album.
I think that Positions takes the best parts of Sweetener and the best parts of Thank You Next and combines them into a Act 2 Ariana Grande.
Wow, that's kind of like spot on. I was going to say, obviously it sounds very Thank You Nexty, but it does feel very much like a Sweetener, Yours Truly, baby.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like at face value, none of the songs are revelatory songs for her. They're all pretty much in her wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
No.
The feel of this album is advanced but not new, right?
No, it's very Thank You Next Part 2.
Correct. Yeah.
But the reason why I don't hate that is because she's in a lot of like press where she's like, I just want to be able to release music when I want to release music. I don't want to have to do the whole build up new era
Yes.
thing. And so I'm like, if you're going to be giving us a new album under every year, then I'm fine if this isn't a completely new thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right. It's fun to kind of watch her evolution happen in real time.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I first came out, I was like a little underwhelmed. I was like, okay, we've heard this all. And then, like, as time went on, I realized I was, like, unironically just listening to it all the time.
Yeah.
And now, like, I can't stop playing it. And, like, I think every song is fantastic, except for a couple. I would say right now, Off the Table and Safety Net are the two that I kind of just, like... And I think it's because I don't care about a man singing. And I really think that's it.
Yeah.
But now I'm, like, I listen to it nonstop, and I think it's fantastic.
I have nothing negative to say about it. It is just an album that I have to be in the mood to listen to. It's not something I can just like throw on because it's evergreen.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ariana Grande for a second, though. There is a large movement on the internet for Ariana Grande to be Elphaba in the Wicked movie. Oh. Do you think that's a good idea? I'll go first. I'll lessen this blow for you. Do I think she should be in the Wicked movie? No. I'll say it on record.
No.
Do I want an album where she sings every Wicked song? 100%. 100%.
Or she has a show tunes album, which I think is in the cards, actually.
I think it's going to take until she's 40.
Yeah. Like in a long time from now, she's going to give us like almost like a Gaga, Tony Bennett, Cheek to Cheek album.
Love it.
We're going to get that.
I'm into it.
I love Ariana Grande. The only part I would want to see her as in the Wicked movie would maybe be Nessa Rose.
Yeah. I think she's a Nessa Rose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so perplexed and intrigued by the Wicked movie.
I can't even begin to like think of what it would look like, and that's why I'm like, I don't want one. I just want it filmed on Broadway. I don't need to see your like try at like a Hollywood movie version of Wicked. You know?
Yeah, I'm trepidatious about it.
Yeah, guys, was this bonusy enough for you guys?
We're gonna lose all of our subscribers. We would just like to say, like, thank you so much for being a part of our 2020.
Honestly.
This podcast did wonders for each of us, I think, in a lot of different ways.
It was such a bright spot of this year.
Yeah, so it has been so nice to work on something that brings both of us so much joy in a year that has been a little light on the joy factor.
Yeah. And just like, I don't know, like we talk about this all the time, but like I think Kevin and I really thought that this was going to be like a passion project for us, and like no one else would care about it. And so to see that like people actually care and people are like keeping up with this has been like really cool.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Sentimental Men.
This episode was produced, edited, and hosted by Quincy Brown and Kevin Bianchi.
Thanks to Julia DiMarzo for our thrilifying artwork.
And thanks to you for tuning in. You can reach us at sentimentalmenpod@gmail.com.
Or on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SentMenPod. That's SentMenPod.
Till next time, I'm Quincy.
And I'm Kevin.
Do you know Lin-Manuel Miranda once said that he learned to sing listening to Anthony rap on the Red soundtrack, and everything clicked into place for me.
So much sense.
It makes so much sense.
Disney's Aladdin on Broadway is among the longest-running shows in Broadway history. But did you know that it almost never came to be?
We walked out of Seattle thinking, okay, we don't have it. We have a lot of work to do.
But against tremendous odds, in March of 2024, they celebrated 10 years on Broadway.
Disney did a great job because they really took the notes.
Go behind the magic and listen to this never-before-heard story, the magical making of Disney's Aladdin on Broadway. Available everywhere you can get your podcasts.
Building big readers in Brooklyn, conquering chemistry in Queens, shaking up STEM in Staten Island. In every corner of every borough, New York City Public Schools are ready for an exciting new year.
This is Michael Mulgrew, president of the United Federation of Teachers, the UFT. The new school year is always filled with big challenges and bold ideas, new friends and familiar faces. And the heart of our public schools, the dedicated educators and staff, never miss a beat.
Working side by side to create classrooms that are welcoming and safe, lifting students up by meeting them where they are. But the hard work starts long before the first bell rings.
We're working to lower class sizes and won't stop until all our students get the resources they need to succeed. Alongside parents and the community, we'll keep on making New York City Public Schools a place where every child in every neighborhood can learn, grow, and thrive.
A message from the UFT.